keyboard.
Merry Vlogmas. I don't know. We're celebrating.
Happy ho.
Yeah. Whatever
Happy
your
ho-ho.
holiday. It is December, and I'm Morgan, and we're here, and I have a Sako live, and we have a Doc nearby. We're gonna air 5 him. Woo. Sorry, I just got back from 3 days of convention and took a nap, so I'm a little wound up. So yay, we see people. Oh my God, Andy made it. He was at the con. He came to my panel.
Yeah, I believe he posted something earlier about his last panel was virtual, so he kind of bailed out, and I don't know if he did it from home or if he just took off as soon as he could.
Maybe, I don't know either. I do actually have a Bluetooth mouse. I just, flat surfaces.
You just need a small table, but that doesn't have a martini on it.
The laptop's on the small table and the microphone. So.
Yeah.
I only have so many pop-up tables. Clearly, I need one more for right there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop to the audience real quick. I see we have an Andy. Hello. And we have a Kibby. Hello.
Hi,
Yay. And let's see. Sorry, we were a couple minutes late. We decided last minute that we wanted to move into the sunroom, and Catechus was helping.
Yes.
So
I described that as catechus-related technical difficulties.
I see there. Some of the changes are catechus-related. Oh yeah, Andy said he did his last panel from home. And I attended the panel from home, so folks got a nice view of his office. That's awesome. Did you have your writing group tag up today? Was that earlier? Am I a week off? I can't
You're a week off. That was last week.
When I was with my mom. Okay, that makes sense. Or no, Dad's solstice thing. That's what it was.
Solstice thing.
I knew there were things and stuff. There's always things and stuff.
It's December. There's always a solstice thing, whether it's called a solstice thing or not.
We're really close to solstice right now.
We're spitting distance, and it's a full moon.
True facts. So, how have you been this week, Doc?
I have been lazy this week. I mean, I've been doing work, but after work, I've been kicking back and relaxing on a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And what was it? It's like last night the new season of The Witcher dropped, and half of it.
I saw a lot of people very excited about that one.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of stacking up things that I ought to have been doing and haven't been doing. But
right.
Although you could say that I got a Christmas present from Bisfis as my Balticon 55 shirt finally showed up.
Oh, so I'm hearing it's finally time for me to I when I was prepping for everything this week, I was 20 minutes late to game because I had swung by my post office box to check my mailbox because I was expecting my con swag soon. I did announce on the thing that it was showing up soon. So I'm going to do a couple things on my computer real quick so you get to watch me computer. But I'm glad to know that they've gone out. I wasn't sure because I knew a lot of them were really involved with the convention this weekend. So I didn't know if things were going to get out or not.
Yeah.
So, Sako, how has your week been?
My week has been full of dancing, and
Ooh.
so on Sunday, I performed in Richmond at a Yule Market, and then on Wednesday I shot a dance video
Ooh.
for a celebrating vintage cinema belly dance show.
Oh, fun. Where did you find this? Make friends with them?
Make friends with who?
The people involved. How did you hook up with that group?
Just the belly dance community.
Okay.
Like, lady popped up saying, "I want to do this show," and I was like, "Me, me, 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 me."
Nice, nice.
I'm going to do something in silent black and white.
That's so cool.
And so I worked some cinema magic, and it is like painstakingly like silent movie era style belly dance video. It
Oh,
is
fun.
super fun.
Oh my gosh, that's so...
Everything worked out perfectly. Like, I was like, I have this idea. I hope it works.
Right?
And it worked out. So I'm super hyped.
That's awesome.
And then last night was my bestie's Christmas party, family Christmas party, and
the one who recently moved to Manassas.
Yes,
awesome. How are they doing? How's the new place?
Oh, wonderful.
Nice.
They want to replace the deck,
right?
But,
I mean,
you know, such as life.
Decks get that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. My laptop is being really slow. I don't know if it's because of the streaming or because the Wi-Fi is slower here. None of those things make sense, though.
I noticed that StreamYard and like doing anything else.
My laptop usually doesn't care with StreamYard. When I tried to use
like
OBS, my computer like basically shut down. But usually I can do this sort of thing no problem.
Mm.
I'm wondering if I have a weird tab open or something. But where did my mouse go? Anyway, we don't have to talk about that. So, wow. I'm sorry. It's really slow. It's bugging me. Just gonna close that. Close that entire thing. Close that and that. And that and that.
Will it catch up?
And I know, I'm very excited, watching me tap my screen. So let's see. And he said nice, and that his inner film student adores the vintage film belly dance concept.
Yes.
So is it on your YouTube or are there links on your Twitter or something?
It will eventually hit Twitter.
Okay.
The show doesn't happen until January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but
it's like January 10th or something silly like that.
Gotcha.
So I have until New Year's Eve to submit my video, and all I got to do at this point is export and send it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Super hype.
Yay. I'm super excited. So yeah, for me, I just got back from Worldcon, which, if you don't know, it's the science fiction fantasy literary convention. I mean, it does do shout outs to TV and film and fan related topics, but it's totally volunteer run, and it's in a totally different city every year. So there's a new group hosting it every year. And this year was the first time it's been in DC since like 73, 75, somewhere in there.
Oh, wow.
Next year, it's going to be in Chicago. And the year after, it's going to be in Chengdu, China, which is the first time it's ever been in China, which is super exciting for them. So it sounds like a lot of college kids found out about it and got super excited. And there was a little kerfuffle about one person bought all these memberships, but what I heard was China itself shut down Alibaba and stopped letting them buy memberships because they get their banking through that.
Right.
And so one person who had a credit card that would work in America is like, just, basically Venmo me the money and I'll pay.
Yeah.
And that's how they ended up with, several people with large number of memberships. Yeah, some people were trying to call shenanigans, but like the more we looked into it, the more it was like, no,
really, this is the only way.
Well, it makes it anti-shenanigans. The government was trying to pull shenanigans by keeping their kids from being exposed to Western influences, and somebody was working a workaround.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously China has some problematic stuff, but a lot of that is the government, not the college kids.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for them, and I'm super excited that, we're trying to be more inclusive and include, not just North America and European, fandom.
Yeah.
So last year it was supposed to be in New Zealand, so we were going to get a lot more of, the Eastern section of fandom, but everything went virtual. So then it was a real scattershot of who was there and everything.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but the Hugos were last night. That's like the biggest award in science fiction and fantasy literature usually. Yeah. I mean, at least as far as I'm aware.
As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the big one that puts sparkly kudos on your career.
Right. And one of the members of the Baltimore Science Fiction Society, which wooed me into running their social media, one of them won a Hugo.
Oh.
So I think it was for short story. But Sarah Pinsker. So
right on.
I was super excited for her. Oh my gosh. It's been sitting on posting for like 5 minutes. I don't even know what it's doing.
What are you posting?
I just want to post a link on my Facebook because I didn't do it before we started.
Oh.
And my computer is shutting down.
Okay.
I don't understand what its problem is. I wanted to do my really cute preview photo that is on YouTube instead of the Twitch one, which is my default one. And it just sat there and was like, I'm going to be a pain and not let you switch preview links.
It's a Facebook thing.
Okay, now it's up. I just had to refresh.
Yeah.
It was being a pain in the tuchus. So. Ooh. How's your writing going this week? December doesn't exist.
December
for me.
does not exist for me.
Oh, okay. Not just me.
Yeah, not just you.
I hear Mr. Sako's birthday month.
It is. Tonight is his birthday party.
Yeah.
So we'll be having a poker game in his honor.
Nice.
Which will be super nice.
Yeah. Say hi to the people for me that would like to hear hi from me.
Yeah, will do.
I mean, I'm fine saying hi to all of them, but
Yeah, I know.
So
say hi to the people that it would most confuse. No.
Well, my ex-husband's very dear friends with her husband. So, I don't mind saying hi to him. He gets weirded out sometimes.
And sometimes
it's fine. So,
it's peculiar.
Yeah. So, Andy said, "Yay, something for Orthodox Christmas." Jennifer says, "Hi, yes, that is a Sako over at my house and everything." And Catechus is meowing up a storm to get in the room.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Kibby's super excited to see it. And everybody's saying hi. Let's see. Andy says, Lisa, his wife and native Chicagoan, is very interested in Worldcon in Chicago.
Cool.
We have a Mr. Vlandas. Hello. Right? I keep looking at the chat and stuff.
Keep looking at the monitor.
She has an excuse.
Andy, Facebook equals pain in the tuchus. Is that how to spell it? I wasn't sure.
Like tuchus?
Yeah.
That is not how I spell tuchus.
That looks like touches.
Tuchus. Yeah.
Now I have a particular song from Rocky Horror stuck in my head. I want to feel dirty. And Kimmy likes poker.
Yes.
Good to know. I haven't played in a while.
Yeah. I don't think anybody has.
Yeah.
Thanks to pandemic things.
You need a cookie, a pecan cluster, dulce de leche, owls, peanut butter bears.
Another chocolate chip cookie would be
Sure.
super swell.
I think I spilled some of my cider on it, but it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Cookies. Did you bring your own snacks?
Let's see. I have Ghirardelli peppermint bark,
Oh, nice.
and I have the Milano Slices peppermint cookies.
Hmm.
I think I'm about to open. And I also have a care package of Christmas cookies that I got from a friend of mine.
Oh, nice.
She loves to bake for the holidays, so she gets up a big list of people and sends out holiday cookies, and they're like chocolate chips and ginger snaps and a whole variety of things.
Wow.
That's super fun.
Yep.
A friend of mine decided to send Christmas cookies to everybody one year
Mm-hmm.
and let them choose a combination of 13 different types of cookies for over 100 people, and we turned into and she had helpers
Oh my god.
for her party, and she put us to work making her cookies.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh my god.
This is when I learned if you have icing, you can take a cookie cutter that is smaller than the cookie and dip it in the icing and use it as a stamp. Because when you were decorating that many cookies, you learn ways to decorate quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. I
Right.
can only imagine the slave mines.
Still better than the bead mines. This same friend has retired from hosting her New Year's Eve party literally the year before the pandemic on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But for the last year, we had the second to last? I don't know. A couple of years ago, we had this thing called the bead mines because she wanted the Pinterest thing of like balloons in the foyer where they had like a fishing line and beads glittering down from them above people's heads. But it being this particular friend, she had a mix of pearl, crystal, and clear beads, and they were all set to different lengths. And so we had pieces of cardboard. You'd wrap 3 times and then do some beads there and wrap 2 times and then some more beads. And it would alternate which types of beads were on which strands and how long each strand was. There were very, very many different lengths so that it would, you know, they weren't all at the same level. And yeah,
Goodness.
there was a formula to it.
I'm so sorry.
Mathematic
Those were the bead
decorating.
mines. And I have this joke that as soon as you perfect a skill for one of her party decoration things, you never need to use that skill again.
Like icing 100 cookies.
13 for each of 100 people.
Oh my god.
Not all of them were icing type cookies, but it was over 1,000 cookies.
Yes. Like
Yeah, it's just the logistics because everybody's asked for a custom mix. It's just like bah.
Well, boxing it was just one person with a checklist, one person goes through and grabs the cookies after they were all decorated and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But a very factory style. She gets very excited about her parties. I usually spend the week before New Year's outside of holiday
Christmas
obligations,
things.
working, 6 to 10 hours a day at her house. And I was looking forward to a nice, restful holiday, but it will be my mom is should be home. Her surgery and stuff went well. But we're hoping she's home by Christmas, and I will be spending that whole week after. So next live stream will be coming to you live from outside of Williamsburg, Virginia.
Right on.
So
Cool.
And I will be editing.
Oh.
My alpha reader / identical twin goes back to school mid-January. And if I want her to read my NaNoWriMo story before she goes back to school, I need to have it to her by the new year.
Yeah.
So
quick round of basic edits.
Yeah. I do the yes, it makes sense. Yes, everything's in order. No, I didn't leave anything out. And that's my first draft. Nobody sees my 0 draft.
No. Mine either.
I'm hoping my mom is napping a lot and not background TV, and I can get a lot done. But we'll see. We'll see. It could happen. It's right at like 79, 80,000 words.
Oh,
so
wow.
It should be doable in about a week and a half. If I'm just mostly doing edits and not like total revisions and stuff.
Right.
So, but it's so much more fantastic than the last draft. Oh, I figured out a pitch that actually works for the one I'm actively querying right now.
Oh, good.
And I got to use it like in person. And I ran across one of my early beta readers.
Oh.
And at one of the panels, and I told him that, I've mentioned, I think on this stream before, that I've been thinking about aging it up. So it's not strictly YA. And he's like, it's coming of age, yes, but it didn't scream, yes, I am YA. And he thought that, it would reach across to the adult audience without really any retconning, really.
Right.
So that opens up a whole new world of agents to me. So,
more people to query with, right?
Right. So let's see. I see we have an author, MK Kit's here. Hello. And Kibby has greens in a bowl for her snack.
For her other 2 Christmas party snack.
All right. Andy has no snacks as dinner is forthcoming, but Lisa did bring him a congratulatory brick of peanut butter fudge after his panels on. Oh, I saw you in person. I should have shared some of my fudge. We saw each other in passing.
Yeah, I got you.
So, and the fudge mysteriously vanished last night during Noir Alley #.
Oh.
Sounds like a mystery.
I mean, we will never know. Oh, Catechist seems to have given up for now.
Hooray.
Yeah. Now he's just going to cause more havoc in the rest of the house. So.
When he gets bored, especially this time of day, it's more like, well, fine, you're boring. I'm going to go nap.
Yeah.
So, like 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. is around the Zoomio clock, but I did get home and snuggle with him, and then I napped, and he curled up with me for a while after trying to gnaw on me. He played bed mouse for a while, where you attack the bed mice.
Yeah.
And then after I got up, I played Let's Go Fetch, or Pounce the Mouse. Until he laid down like 3 times. And then, so I tried to be like, Mama's home.
It's not bad.
I try to give him plenty of attention.
I haven't abandoned you.
Yeah. So Ian says, these things happen in the shadows, and Catechist is resting up for more havoc, like his boys do.
Indeed.
Yeah. So.
As he is wont to do.
Right. So my second panel this weekend was on Twitter and how to be a good Twitter citizen and how to avoid the Twitter mobs.
Oh, sure.
And one of the things I found out. Never mind, not on the stream. I'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's like,
but it went really well. And my other panel was putting fandom on your resume. So,
oh,
just ways to leverage it, and it's also a great way to fill in resume gaps and that sort of thing.
Oh,
but
I have no idea how to put together a resume anymore. Like, I've been freelance for so long.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I just talk about projects that I've worked on, or like?
I think you do. You say freelance and the years, and then maybe a skills section.
Yeah.
And any major projects, especially ones if you can link them.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it was decent, but yeah, I attended, of course, a lot of other panels as well. But a lot of the ones I wanted to hit were purely virtual, so they're going to be up till the end of next month once they go up. So I'm gonna watch some of them in the repeat.
Cool.
So yeah, because when I did virtual conventions, I spent too much time multitasking and not enough time doing anything.
Yeah.
So. But I made new friends, and they invited me to dinner, and we ate outside. So I didn't just sit there with a drink, not eating.
Oh, yay.
And one of them actually is in my pitch war support group.
Oh,
excellent. I introduced myself as Morgan, and she told me about how she did this pitch wars thing. And I was like, I run the Facebook support groups. Are you on there? And I was like, I'm Morgan Hazelwood. And she's like, oh, because when you introduce your last names.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really nice to meet somebody I have interacted with online in person. So yeah, and we had lively debates about such varied topics as the Oxford comma, M dashes, the myth of the 2-page synopsis, which is the hill I decided I would die on, and none of them had heard of Whamageddon.
Okay, apparently they have better things to do with their lives.
I mean, Whamageddon.
I lost
right?
hard. There was a trap mix that had 2 copies of Last Christmas.
By Wham?
One
was a remix.
Both were remixes.
Remixes don't count.
Oh, but they do.
No. We can go to whamageddon.com. It starts December 1st. Ends December 24th, and if you hear the original version of Last Christmas by Wham, you're out, and enjoy any remixes or other people redoing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you are unfamiliar with Whamageddon, now you know. That's how to lose, and that's the time frame. Midnight Christmas Day, you can start listening to it.
Yeah. So.
And I got mistook for 10 years younger than myself 4 times.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. One of the people I've worked with, the con chair that I've been working with for a year and a half, she was like, oh, I'm 20 years older than you. And I'm like, no, there's no way. And she told me her age. And I was like, this is my age, honey. She's like, oh.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I do enjoy that. I thought, as a kid, everybody, I always looked young for my age, partially because twin and small. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, you'll love it when you're older. And I'm like, yeah, but I'll probably hit 25 at age 10 years overnight. And so far, knock on wood. So,
I suspect 60 will hit, and I'll just become an old woman all at once.
Do you have any tinsel in your hair yet? I don't see any.
No. I have a patch that I keep ripping out of gray hair just on the side of my head. Just a little patch.
It would be cool if it was by the temple. So
it's not by the temple. It's just smack dab in the center of my skull. And I hate it. So I shave my head as often as possible. And I will pull out the gray hairs just because they are unsightly.
I've just got a couple of random tinsel. I call it my tinsel.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm okay with it
I
being
just have
silver.
a fringe.
I'm okay with silver. I don't like gray as much, if
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
it's like you have to be in person to tell the real color because it's the dark is all intermixed with the light. So
right. Yeah. So Kibby says she gets the same reaction from people. She looked her age until about 30 and then started looking young and getting accused of it ever since.
Yeah.
And no to the grays.
and it has nothing to do with that painting in your attic. Nothing at all.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this room has no attic. The truth behind this.
Yeah.
Do you see that hole in my ceiling?
Yeah.
A little higher because I'm taller than. Sorry.
Yeah.
There we
Because
go.
I'm a midget.
Well, your chair's also lower.
That is also true.
So.
I was referring to Kibby's attic, but that's beside the point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So. Oh,
I
look,
could have gone equally the wrong way with basement. So
True. I also have no basement. My hometown has very few basements as well because we are the water table. So, yeah. Andy says, I expected Catechus to be looking down from that hole. He has no way to access it, which helps.
give him about 10 more minutes to figure out one. Right?
It's like, what, 10 feet up?
Well, in the other side of the door, he can get up on top of that bookcase, which is right underneath the ceiling. All he has to do is punch a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, but this is actually an addition, and I think there may be a wall between the two sections.
Yeah, there may be an exterior wall there, huh?
Yeah. I don't think they would have taken out the structural exterior wall. I think they just insulated it a little more and rolled.
So that may take him a good 20 more minutes, right? Depending on how much he wants it.
He's not usually that destructive. So
he is perched by the door still yet.
Yeah, he came back. So, since this is a year-end party, let's talk about how 2021 went with our. I feel like it's still 2020, and I'm not ready for 2021 yet. And we're this close to 22.
It's still March 2020, and it's been so for 18 months, right?
So let's talk about us, and then we'll go to everybody who's hanging out with us. How did your writing go during 2021?
I decided to change projects halfway through Nano.
Okay.
From Shattered Doll to draft 2 of White Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to write the end.
Ooh,
which was nice. You know.
How long is it?
Currently it is 30, but I have a few scenes that are like, this happens.
Right.
Flush out later. Okay.
This
happens. Flush out later. Okay. Yeah, so I suspect it'll probably be a novella, maybe get it to 60K.
Okay.
Maybe.
Add a subplot.
It is a story about what happens when a master mage ODs on cocaine and goes into rehab.
Ooh. Yeah. The only thing I can think of is another character whose life intersects but is not overlapping.
Or he hallucinates yet another. Another aspect of his former life. I don't know, maybe.
Do people from his former life show up?
From time to time.
Okay.
People who influenced him when he was young.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice when your youthful influences show back up.
It's awfully nice.
Yeah. So, Doc, how did your writing go in 2021?
I feel like it the writing aspect actually went pretty well. I mean, right now I'm sitting here. I've got 2 full drafts of novels.
That
Yay.
is a good feeling,
And-
unless you hate editing.
I have no problem with editing, and I think a good chunk of what I did was editing on Kindred, and now that's ready to go out to beta readers. And the problem is, I've just been lazy about reaching out and trying to get people to sign up to be beta readers. I've got a couple people. I actually ran into another guy at work who writes, who's like, "Hey, shoot it to me, I'll beta read," and it's like,
Nice.
that's good. But then this past Nano, when I jumped back onto Rage of Ragnarok and rock and rolled on that one,
Yeah.
um,
Also, appreciation for the pun there.
yes, thank you. Ragnarok and roll. That was a really good feeling because I have not done that since I did Perils of Prague in the first place.
Yeah.
But it's like, and I'm sitting here with a 99,000 word manuscript to go out to beta readers, and an 85,000 word manuscript to go into the first edit after I let it sit for a little while and let my brains cool off.
Yeah. That is totally the stage that I'm at, is the let the brains cool off for a month. You know?
NaNoWriMo isn't sustainable for me, and
It's
I
not
need
for me
recovery,
either.
and December is so full of so many things.
Yeah, it really is.
So I never expect anything out of December.
I'm surprised that I'm here. That is how my December is going.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess my turn for my writing this year. I started off the year trying to finish up my space fantasy, and I did pretty well actually, getting voice to text to work. So when I really got into a slump, but the story, because my working theory right now is because I was only trying to do like 10K per month.
Oh.
I lost the momentum because
Right.
you can do that in like 2 days a week. And so I would just be like, well, we're here. What could happen next, rather than working towards like the plot and it turned into tax fraud and school field trips, which is not where I wanted my space fantasy to go.
That's a different book.
I don't mind it when stories veer in unexpected directions, but I didn't want to tell that story.
Yeah.
So I pouted for a while. I beta read 2 or 3 manuscripts. I'd have to look. And then I polished a couple of my shorts, and I did a lot of querying this year.
Nice.
And a lot of form rejections, which is super disappointing after the fact I'd been getting requests before I revised it.
Yeah.
So it might be timing. It might just be YA fantasy is glutted.
Yeah.
And also there's all that talk about publishing being so backlogged that they're rarely taking anyone on.
Yeah.
But then NaNoWriMo came, and I managed to salvage 25,000 words from last year's NaNoWriMo attempt, and
Good.
I finished the manuscript.
Hooray!
Like on the last day. The ending might be rushed, but whatever. It comes full circle. I'm very happy with it. It's just maybe I rushed from the thing happened to, and then they traveled here and they traveled here and they were back. So it might need a little less, but I like a lot of the elements in it, and I think it's a good starting point. And I read a fuck ton this month. That one. I didn't
that one.
I didn't write as
I did a lot of reading this year.
yeah.
Well. Mm-hmm.
But last year I was working really hard at my physical to read pile, and this year I found harder than 2020 because of the half open and how things kept fluctuating rather than this is how it is. And, so first I started off with paranormal romances, and then I ended up with Regency romances, and then I ended up with just contemporary romances.
Oh.
Because A, Kindle Unlimited, and B, leading into the very formulaic, and then you're introduced to these side characters, and then they go and have their own happily ever after. And I just needed happily ever afters this year. So I think I'm gonna look at my Goodreads, and I might be a couple off, and many of those may have been novellas rather than full-length novels, but my read books this year is 166.
Oh,
Damn. My reading has gone.
like 5. I maybe read
So
5,
my usual I try for 1 or 2 36.
Mm-hmm,
So 3 a month.
mm-hmm.
But a lot of them may have been novellas, but I mean I read a lot this year. So and like 6 of them were from my to read pile. So my to read pile has gone back to 5 years old instead of 4 years old. So people keep trying to give me books. Oh, and then when I visited my mom 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
she gave me 6 bags of giveaway books. So, because she and her sister have a book exchange, and mom's a little pickier than my aunt's is about which one she picks up. And these are the ones mom didn't think were good enough to keep. So,
maybe
a friend of mine is having a little get together for New Year's Eve and is doing bring a gift or something that just won't work for you, exchange / we're going to drop things off to donate. So I dropped them off there, and I haven't even gone through it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I snagged like 5 of the Sean and Maguires off the top because I have them in electronic but not person.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I really haven't gone through them. But yeah, if you need some more of that shameless erotica stuff, that's where I got those from in this book exchange.
I might
Okay.
take you up on that.
Okay. I'll keep you in mind when I do go through them. So
Cool.
yeah, I'll take pictures and send them to you New Year's Eve.
That'd be great.
Be like, is this for you, Sako?
Excellent.
Oh, hey, we have an Eva. Hello and
Hi,
welcome. Eva says, it feels like 2019 until I see how much this child has grown.
Yeah, no kidding.
Kibby, hey, it's 2022. At least I'm assuming that's how that punctuation was supposed to be pronounced.
Oh.
2020 all over again.
No, we're never doing that again.
Yeah, no. Eva started a work in progress that had been an idea for a while, but didn't get too far this year. Didn't hit any big goals or do anything remarkable, but it's been a year, so,
Hooray.
Kibby was homeless in 2019, so the last 3 years are a blur.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad you have shelter and a roof and, supportive people in your life. I mean, I'd like to give you more supportive people in your life, but I'm only one person.
Yeah.
So, Eva said, I did start doing critique reads to help build up a portfolio and some experience for offering paid services. Yeah. I also shared my first fanfic with the great AuthorTube community. Yay! For Andy the Good, he was invited to an anthology. I remember you working on it on the stream, right?
Cool.
He got the story written up and sent it in. He worked on a personal project and a flash fic, which is in submission. Not so good, still editing the novel slowly. I mean, there's I sometimes find giving myself like a 10-page target for each editing session because I'm very milestone oriented and I get momentum by being able to check
boxes.
That's why NaNoWriMo works for me.
Yeah, me too. So
it might be something to try because I know chapters vary in length and, yeah. So good luck. It's rough. And as writers, I mean, I actually got to read my manuscript at the convention.
Oh,
I am part of Broad Universe, which supports women authors and women identifying authors in
Broad Universe.
Right? Yeah. But in science fiction and fantasy. And at a lot of conventions, they have a group table and they set up an event. So it's a group reading. And so you get your fans and their fans. And there were like 7 or 8 people. And I was chatting with her in the hallway, one of the organizers. And she's like, oh, I've got this tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm a member of that. And she's like, you want to read? And I'm like, but I'm not published yet. And she's like, that doesn't matter.
Oh, cool.
And they had somebody drop out. And would I like to join?
Oh.
So I read the beginning of the manuscript that I'm actively querying and went through all the, oh my God, I have added too much detail. It is now bogged down. There's no pacing. It's horrible. Oh my gosh. And try to tell myself, and maybe that's why it's not going anywhere with the querying process. But I messaged a couple of friends and I'm like, tell me I'm just overreacting because I'm stressed. That's what I need to hear.
Yeah.
Even if it's not true.
Even if it's not true. Please lie to me, please.
Right. So
Yeah.
I went and I read. It's like I do Spilled Ink. I do the open mic night, but I do it with like poetry and essays and things that I've worked on for an hour or 3 hours. This is something I've
That's
done
like near and dear.
7 drafts over the last like 8 years.
Right.
So it's a lot more. I'm very emotionally invested in it, and
Yeah.
it went really well. And I got several compliments. They may have just been polite, but it was really, really encouraging to hear. So yeah, that was exciting and thrilling and terrifying.
And thrilling and terrifying.
So, but yeah, I worry sometimes that I've edited too much, and I don't even know. So Kibby says she was homeless from 2019 through 22. Homeless to Business, a YouTube channel. Oh, and 77K on her novel since September.
Yeah.
That is booking it. Oh my goodness.
She is prolific.
Woof. Air 5. Whoop. So.
She did Nano and was like, yep, no problem.
Right. Eva is jealous of somebody's 2 full drafts. So. And everybody cheered everybody on. Hooray. Bouncing through those. Andy says, Kibby, amazing turnaround.
Yeah.
For the 2 drafts, Eva says, a fiction, not fan fiction. What? I've yet to try writing any sort of fan fiction. I enjoy fan fiction. I just don't write it because part of my favorite part of writing is the world building. And so if I'm in somebody else's world, I don't get to do that. And I get worried that I haven't done enough research. I don't know the world well enough. And so I end up not.
Oh, I see.
So I have trouble playing in other people's worlds.
I almost exclusively play in pre-made worlds. I think partly because I also... So, like, there are World of Darkness, by night books like Montreal,
right,
or New England, or Chicago, stuff
right,
like that. But there was no DC,
yeah,
there was no Richmond, there was no. So I made those cities and made them more well-rounded in the universe.
Oh, nice.
So it might not be like my universe, it's their universe, but it's...
You play by their rules in your own space.
Correct.
That might be something I could handle. Yeah, I actually talked to somebody who invited me to write a short story for an anthology with an ongoing character.
Oh.
And the character has been followed in all these different authors and so many different voices and stuff like that. And they're like, these 3 things have to stay the same. This is the setting, go. And I tried, and I don't have a story for them, and I need to do a lot more reading.
Mhm.
And like when I see open calls, that's not usually a story that calls to me.
Yeah.
So I just write what I have and then wait for something to open, and then get lovely rejection letters.
Yeah, I got you.
So indie people, y'all are much less waiting for payoff.
Indeed. So
And so brave, you're just putting yourself out there rather than like, pick me. I need that external validation.
Well, our external validation comes from the pre-orders and the sales and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. But that's from people who haven't read it yet.
And that's from people who haven't read it yet. So January and February, I'm looking at, getting the reviews in and then doing another push, doing a couple more like book tour stops.
Sure.
And, yeah. So
I think BC was gonna get me an interview.
Yeah.
And I was gonna put that up.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't drop the ball on that. Last week is kind of a blur. Last week didn't happen.
I don't know. She has also been quite ill. So
that's rough.
I kind of get like,
yeah,
if you sent it to her and you haven't heard back, like that also
it might just be sitting in my inbox. I had a family member have surgery this week, and I had the convention, and my cat needs more attention. So this is a week that happened.
Whoosh.
So everything is looking good, but it was still pretty high stress. So I think is where we're gonna go with that. Let's see. Eva says, let me click. AuthorTube fanfic is probably gonna be my first. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so excited. I don't know where it is right now, but I had a friend write fanfic about a writer's group.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was hilarious. I think it was just like silly dialogue, but banter, but it was still pretty flattering and hilarious.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Andy says, I'm hoping I'll be able to get my editing, rewriting mojo back during my Christmas break.
Nice.
So Eva says, I'm so glad you got to share your work. Thank you. I also there was a poetry reading, and I have this slam poetry, which is not really my normal jam, about the querying and waiting for a response. And, in a room full of writers, it went really well.
Nice.
Lots of amuse. I showed up like 3 minutes late.
Oh.
And was like, do I sign up?
I don't know.
So like 3 poems in, I was like, is there still space for me to sign up? And they're like, we've got 2 empty slots, go for it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Yay.
So, but yay for Kibby. Yeah, we're still cheering Kibby on.
Yeah, Kibby.
Let's see.
What I miss?
Oh, Raven's here. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Raven.
Hey, Raven.
Oh, Catechus is on his tree that's against the window. Cat tree, not Christmas tree, obviously. That's up against the window to the sunroom, because it's French doors. So let's see. Andy says, my fanfic turns into fiction. I'm going to write my own mobile suit Gundam with blackjack and Futurama jokes. So Andy says, the old DC by Night for Vampire 2nd edition got a shout out at one of his panels.
Oh, wow.
I was thinking about releasing my update.
Yeah.
Like on Storyteller's Vault for other storytellers if they wanted to run like a DC by Night game that is updated for the time.
I think the one that's out right now is from the 90s.
93.
You can tell who's gamers.
and I combed through that book hardcore, and the Yeah, like super outdated.
I remember
Super outdated.
my ex-brother-in-law running a changeling game for us and leaning on it some, and there was like a missing person report that had been big back in the 90s is one of the things. And we're like, oh, I remember that from when I was like at knee-high.
Knee-high to a grasshopper.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
So let's see. A Raven says, I can only seem to write self-insertion fanfic. Not only just myself as a character in someone else's universe, but also inserting my own ideas about their universe as well.
Right, sure.
I mean, I think that's part of the enjoyment of other people writing in their worlds is seeing different viewpoints, as long as they don't retcon stuff.
That is what I really love about reading fanfic for X-Men, for World of Darkness, for whatever.
Yeah.
Is hearing other people's perspective in a universe that was blind to it before.
Right. I think I also sometimes see it as, oh, we just have an unreliable narrator.
Sure.
You know? So that's one way, you know, perspective can really just, you know. I got into a talk with somebody who absolutely hates unreliable narrators. And I'm like, just because you don't like that doesn't make that a bad thing for the story. It just means it's not for you.
Yeah.
If that's a trope you don't like, don't read that trope.
Right.
So, you know, it takes all kinds. And I for me personally, I prefer unreliable narrators and maybe more suspense thriller stuff.
Me too.
Suspense thriller is all about keeping information hidden.
Right. Or in the type of fantasy where it wants to keep you guessing what's real and what's not. Right. So maybe contemporary fantasy, maybe total fantasy world, but you know, where part of the story is the character themselves questioning what's real.
Right. So, which is all what White Shadows is all about.
Right.
What's real, what's not.
Yeah, that's what you write.
And it's from the perspective of the mage, right? So you only know what he knows.
I didn't realize that. And I was, well, then I'm glad I didn't slam it. So,
that's part of the reason why Adventures of Crackle and Bang is all first person.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
and it makes retconning any mistake as your character was just dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you didn't ask, so we didn't tell you. And oh, by the way, here's how it really is.
Right. Yeah. Right. I love that way. Yeah, first person's my jam. I realize not everybody loves it, but my only third person is so close. The only difference is pronouns.
Yeah. My third person is close. Yeah. So like whether it is, and I think that is something that I'm going to be like looking back on, because I think I started White Shadows being in third person close and then went back to first person for some reason.
If it's not working, you know,
I think it was working. I think it was working fine. I just lost. Like I went from one day like writing in third to the next day writing in first. Yeah. And didn't look back. That's the problem that I have with Nano mostly is that I don't look back until like, you know, February.
Yeah. I think with my Nano, I usually read the last paragraph I wrote the day before and just bounce from there.
Right on.
You know? So it can be jarring sometimes. Which is why nobody sees Zero Draft.
Which is exactly why no one sees the Zero Draft.
Oh, Doc, jump in anytime. I know we're getting a little chatty over here.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I missed part of it because my groceries got delivered. I had to go and put all the old stuff away.
Okay.
Oh, right on.
But I never thought of it as a Zero Draft, but I realized I do the same thing. I just go ahead and call it my first draft.
My first draft, I'll let people see. So also I'm a coder. I'm a software engineer, and our indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3. So
you've just adopted that. So
right. So I just felt really good about calling it a Zero Draft, is partially because, you know, it's the initial form, but also because 0 means it's not actually a full integer yet.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, but I mean, it's your 0 draft is my first draft,
yeah.
and
Or I'll say rough draft, and then I have a first draft after I do my first editing pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I usually alternate editing passes with revision passes. I know they're like, don't fix the typos when you've got to like cut whole chapters, but I can't see the forest for the trees.
Oh.
So I've got to be able to read it without being like, that reads wrong,
Oh.
to really get the picture. So,
So you do like a full pass,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now developmentally, you're like,
Yeah.
what do I need to do?
yeah.
oh, because when I'm doing self edits, I just go ahead and fix it as I see it. And if that means that I've just fixed a section and then realized 2 chapters later that that doesn't work, I'm going to have to either cut it or I just don't think about it. I don't cry over lost words. I just copy them out somewhere else and go on. So
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's my style.
For me, it's officially a new draft when I copy the whole document and start over and
Agreed.
start revising. I always save earlier initial snapshots. I want snapshots of each stage.
Mhm.
I do that for drafts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll have a file for
Yeah.
first draft. I'll
Mhm.
make a copy, tuck it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4. So
As I said, for Nano, I reused 22,000 words.
Mhm.
I started off only reusing 20,000, and then I went to put in a scene, and I'm like, I've written this before. And I grabbed it, put it back in, and massaged it to fit the new, placement and everything.
Nice.
And so, by not blowing away this rough draft or being like, okay, we're up to the point where we deviate, boom, everything else is trash.
Right.
So
Thank you. You just made me realize that I had not made a copy of Kindred of Kali to signify that the draft was over. Because once I start getting feedback from people, I'm just going to stick it in my latest draft. So
yeah. So this is everyone's reminder. If you have not saved your most recent draft of anything, email it to yourself, save it on another device. Do something right now to back your work up.
Yeah,
if you've got a Dropbox, make sure it's actually syncing.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
But
moment of silence. How many years of work did you lose?
3.
Yeah, that's
3 years of work on my Anchor series. So book 6 is gone. Book 4 is gone. Book 1 is gone.
Nobody had a draft. You hadn't sent it to anybody. Oh,
I didn't have the chance.
Oh.
So I put a copy on the computer itself. I put a copy on the external hard drive.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be good enough.
Right?
But both died at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God.
So yeah.
Like,
yeah, I have to
for you to get up and
rewrite.
start writing again, like after that I might have caved for like a month and a half.
I
3
was
months.
really lucky that I have at least the 2010 versions of the Anchor series on Google Drive.
Okay.
So, like, I'm hoping that I can get far enough away from draft 1 to not miss it anymore and be like, okay, I don't remember what happened anyway.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
Or just have like inklings of, I remember this bullet point. Okay.
Gotcha.
But
didn't mean to bring up dark times.
I was smart enough to make hard copies of the outlines.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have that benefit.
Yeah. I do like the occasional hard copy. So
I have the series Bible is like a journal.
Somebody was saying that you could go through like Kindle and get a printed out book version that was cheaper than just going to Kinko's to print a manuscript. Was anybody in the audience one of those people? Anybody on the stream?
Well, I guess if you went ahead and set it up as a book and then sent yourself an author copy.
Yeah, I think
But it really depends on how expensive Kinko's is.
Yeah.
I think for like 500 pages, it's like $70.
So yeah, it would definitely be easier to go ahead and PDF your rough draft and set it up as to publish and send yourself an author copy and then scrap the whole thing.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me that was a thing they did with their drafts, and I was tempted next time I finished something to maybe do that. So, because I hate printers, and when you're printing out 500 pages,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to go through a whole thing of ink, which costs more than the friggin' printer, and then you're going to want to kill everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I was just say you don't replace those ink cartridges. You just buy a new printer. No.
Barrett was thought I was younger than I was, and didn't realize I would get an Office Space reference.
Oh.
I'm like 2 months younger than him, if that.
If that. Yeah.
If that. But also software engineer. Also with my hatred of printers, like there's something there for me to identify with.
Yeah.
So, let me pop over to the comments real quick. Oh, wow, I'm way back. Okay, so let's see. Did we? Yeah, we did that one. Okay, so Raven said when he started writing Address and Files fanfic at one point, he wrote himself as a wizard that belonged to a very different wizarding organization than Harry Dresden's.
Oh, right on.
And the one that explicitly broke certain rules the White Council had put in place.
Dun, dun, dun.
His premise was generational knowledge being passed from one wizard to another through necromatically being stored and passed down artifacts from mentor to student after the mentor dies. Dies or is killed?
Oh.
Are we leaning into the wait?
Yeah, I can definitely see why the White Council didn't go that way.
Basically allowing each subsequent student access to the knowledge and skill of their predecessor. That seems very Sith, very where Star Wars is. Sako going through all the stages of grief as she tries to calculate all that lost work. Oh my gosh, yeah. Weirdly sage words from Twitter. Even if the dentist has their fingers in your mouth, do not suck them. I swear it was an accident.
At least get consent first. Good God.
Oh my. Raven learns new things every day on Twitter, most of which he immediately wishes he could unlearn.
Yeah.
And let's see. Andy says, my apprentice, if you wish my teaching to continue, you must eat my brain. Oh my goodness.
Zombie mages. No.
Right?
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Did I tell you I hit 10K on Twitter?
Yes.
I was so excited. It means nothing. I have 10 people who engage with me, but I hit 10K.
Yeah.
And Twitter still won't give me Morgan Hazelwood. You can't get the blue check mark just for having 10K. You have to have a certain percentage of engagement. So they just keep moving the bars. It's like they and like YouTube are this close.
Yeah, no kidding.
So next year I am not going to be like scrumming for new Twitter followers, but I am going to try and be more active, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's definitely a thing. So, but Twitter is hilarious.
It has its moments.
Have you seen the Jean and Jort cat saga?
Yes.
It took me a while to find that.
Did you find it?
I finally had somebody who directed it to me, but it was like everyone was going nuts over it all day in vague terms, and it's like, what are you talking about?
I saw it come across like 7 people's feeds on my Facebook, and then I'm between panels, and I look at my phone, and I see a verse that is to the tune of Wellerman, and then I found the like person singing it, and to me, like referencing an earlier TikTok trend with the newest viral thing, it's just so meta. It like cracked me up. Plus, it's a great song. Yeah. So I shared it on my Facebook and my Twitter. So if you are amused by the poor cat who got buttered,
don't butter your cat.
Right? Go look on my feed. You can find it there. What was I going to say about the buttering?
It won't teach them to clean themselves better. It'll just make them sticky.
Right. No, it gave the other cat diarrhea because the other cat was screaming it for him. And they're like, the cat's sick, and they took the cat to the vet, and they found out it's because it's been grooming the dumb cat. And Pam had been putting margarine on the other cat to teach it to like groom itself, because Pam thought, the orange cat could learn. Yeah. But like read the whole thing, because there's a sit down with HR that treats it very formally, that addresses each of the issues and how to improve coworker interaction, treating the cats and Pam as like rational creatures and respect. And I'm like, they should teach this in HR for people dealing with inner office conflict, because this is letter perfect.
Yeah, you have the way that Pam treated Jorts was absolutely a classic case of, I think this coworker can do better, so I'm going to torture them and give them extra obstacles so they have opportunities to learn. It's like, that doesn't actually work ever.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't always.
Yeah. So it's a really I want to see if Ask a Manager does anything on it about how, like, I haven't checked it out. If I were Allison at Ask a Manager, I would be like, this HR person did it just right, and like point out how they handled the situation.
Go to the comments.
Okay, I'm going to the comments. So, okay. Before we get into the Jorts one, Andy said another takeaway from Worldcon: necromancy is organic. So. And Raven says that the analogy with Sith is not unfounded, but I felt it was kind of mixed with knighthood, in that the group had an extremely restrictive honor system that involved allowing your mind to be warped. As they say in Star Trek: The Next Gen, Jorts, his fur buttered.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Raven says... back to the Sith analogy. Fix the restrictions and avoid people abusing their practices, which is yet another practice the White Council would have wiped them out for us. They have a restriction on mind-altering magic. So, hello, Toe the Lion. My favorite was the comparison of Jorts to Mr. Bingley and Jean to Mr. Darcy. Yes! I'm there for it. Oh my God. I don't remember Pride and Prejudice that much, but Pride and Prejudice analysis videos keep showing up on my YouTube feed, and I find them very soothing. And this pseudo academic thing that means nothing to me and my life.
Yeah.
I did see a reference also to Jean Valjean and Jorts Valjorts.
Jean-Luc Keating and
Jorts Luc Picard.
Yeah, Jude's Luke Picard. Yeah. So they're all the different Jean and yeah. It got silly. I approve. So, oh my goodness. That was hilarious. Okay. Well, this is a year-end thing. Maybe we should talk about what we plan on doing next year. Do you know yet? Have you thought about it?
For writing or for publishing in general?
Let's break it out and do writing and then publishing.
Okay.
Let's start with Doc this time. I'm going to put you on the spot. Boom.
Ironically, I'm used to being thrown under the bus because my time's on a writing podcast.
I mean, we all know my bus theory, right? With no buses, nobody could be thrown under the bus, and you don't run into the, oh, so-and-so got hit by a bus and now nobody knows how to do the thing. If we get rid of buses,
the world would be a lot safer without buses.
Safer.
I mean, it stinks for people who rely on public transit, but I live in the suburbs, so they're not really that awesome anyway here.
And you're teleworking anyway, right? No.
I go in once or twice a week right now. But yeah.
So anyway, about my writing and publishing plans for the new year. The goal is to get Kindred of Kali beta read, edited, and published before August.
Oh wow!
So
TikTok.
Nice.
I'm.
Do you need it done before you can do pre-orders? I don't know how pre-orders work.
Amazon has changed their style, so now if you do pre-orders of a book that hasn't been released, it comes with this band across the cover that says this is an advanced release product or something like that. So if you actually want copies that you can take somewhere and sell, you actually have to have the book published.
Okay. I was just wondering about maybe a pre-release party at Balticon to get pre-orders.
Well, I would love to be able to do that.
May is a little short.
That seems a little bit too ambitious.
That's why I was wondering about how early pre-orders go out, and do you have to have it done yet and stuff?
We did a month long for Flambeau.
Gotcha.
I've heard of 3 months. I've heard of a week.
Okay.
I have heard that Amazon does up to 90 days for pre-orders for the electronic editions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I was just curious.
Doing a pre-order party is potential, but it really depends on how far down I get in my edits.
Right. No, totally.
Yeah. If I feel like the edits are mostly solid and it's just small tweaks to front and back material,
gotcha.
Then I could probably do that. But my last experience showed me that it's hard to get anything done. Oh, bye, Kibby.
Kibby and Andy had to bounce out.
Okay, bye.
I owe Saturnalia. Love that old time sleeping.
Right. So I hope work goes well, Kibby. Bye. Okay, carry on. I just didn't want to miss them before they were gone.
My last experience was that we kept finding things that needed to be changed in the text, which puts off getting the cover design finalized and everything.
Oh, really?
It just kept, because if your text changes enough that the pages change, then your cover size changes.
Yes, that is true.
And it's like a good graphic artist will have enough bleed that they can deal with that, but it's not just because it depends on how thick the spine of the book is.
Yeah.
It does mess with stuff. And part of that for me is that I was trying to publish the ebook and the print copy at the same time. And I have now learned why it is that people will publish the ebook first, but I still want to have like the print copy following like a week later instead of a month or two later.
Right.
So that's the big publishing goal. Along with that, once I get into the home stretch for Kindred getting published, I'm going to start recording the audiobook for Perils of Prague.
Ooh.
that I can get that done and get that out into another stream. And right now I can't afford to have anybody else do it, so that means I get to do the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you like voice acting, right?
Oh yeah. It's I've no problem with the fact that that I can do the reading. I can do all the voices in the reading and have them be distinct.
Right.
It's
Raven's abandoning us too.
Hi, Raven.
Something about
Sorry.
food. I just had a cookie for breakfast, so I mean,
Yeah.
I just ate a cookie, so and
good to have you. Glad you made it.
yeah. And the plan for next year's NaNoWriMo is I'm going to take a little break from steampunk, and I'm going to go into a YA fantasy that I had started a couple years ago that is about a young woman who literally falls into fairy and has to find her way back.
Ah.
I have a blog post with notes about Portal Fantasies if you want to check that out. With Shannon on it from Worldcon 3 years ago now. I don't know. It's on there. So
yeah. So that's kind of what I've slated up for myself for the next year.
Nice. How about you?
Let's see. I spent this year shooting, like as the photographer, a boudoir horror book.
Ooh.
And then hopefully, I will be releasing the book itself in 2022.
Okay.
So that is super exciting. I went through all the sets yesterday and was really happy with the end product.
Yay! Oh my gosh, that's such a good feeling.
It is such a good feeling. I was like, I have enough for a book.
Yay!
I have enough for a book.
Yay!
Then I will probably make outlines for the entire Anchor series.
Okay.
And write them down in the series Bible so that I will never lose them. I will be happy as long as I can get outlines for books like 3, 4, 5. I have 6. I have 1.
Right.
And I have 2. But yeah, I need 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Right. So I think my plans for next year are obviously end of this year, get it ready for my alpha reader and get that over there. I think I want to get my middle grade. It needs revising. It needs pacing. It needs, because I've done editing, but I haven't revised it. You know, I've made the lines better, but I haven't, made sure that the pacing and the plot are what it needs. And I think it needs a bit of work there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, keep querying. But yeah, so it's, and figure out what I'm doing for Nano. I think I'm going to do a new story, but we'll see. We'll see. And if I have enough time in there, hopefully, I don't know if I can do the middle grade and my space fantasy, but I hope so. I think space fantasy is nearer and dearer to me than my middle grade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like it. It's cute, but the middle grade market's also really hard to get into too.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's how much of the investment it's worth.
Right.
So, and I think part of my issue with that is I was more excited about the concept of the world than I really bonded with the characters. I mean, I like them, but they're cute kids, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So, although it could just be because I did write it in third person. So maybe if I went back in first person,
oh, maybe
it would pop more. I don't know. It's really hard. Might think about
things.
And it may just be a case that doing the space fantasy will get you that in that will let you go back to that.
Well, I mean, if the space fantasy, I think, is straight up adult. I mean, it's not like raunchy or anything, but it deals with, you know, it deals with independent adults doing things to make their lives better rather than exploring independence for the first time and that sort of theme.
Right.
Which is what you're going to have in more of a YA sort of novel. Yeah, no, she's, you know, grown up, has a job. So she's not really establishing herself. She's trying to break into a new career and get, you know, so.
Right on.
So that's just, you know, adult worries and paying bills and family obligations never go away. So unless you cut them out because they're toxic. But, you know, I think cutting people out because they're toxic is a lot more acceptable these days than it used to be. Yeah. Because there are people who will support you for doing that rather than demonize you.
Yeah.
Which is why you see it more, simply because you can live with it. And, you know, you're going to get a lot less shame for it.
Yeah.
But, you know, some people you can fix and some people are just toxic.
Yeah.
And some people are fine, but because of the way you've interacted in the past and your history and the trauma that you have together, you can't interact without hitting each other's buttons.
Yeah.
And that's sad and frustrating and totally a thing.
Totally a thing.
So,
Totally a thing.
yeah.
Yep.
Feeling called out.
I'm sorry. I was not thinking about you at all. But I was, yeah. So, when Raven bailed, he also wished us a Merry Yuletide and Hail Odin or something. Is there anything holiday-like we should discuss?
You getting a little tired there, Sako?
I am lebushed.
Oh my goodness. Well, we can circle back to something we've talked about before. What are your favorite holiday foods?
Favorite holiday foods.
I could talk about food.
I super enjoy cookies. I super enjoy cranberry things. I
have a bowl of dried cranberries. Would you like some craisins?
No, thank you.
Okay.
But thank you.
Because they were on the snack table. I just didn't grab them.
Right on. Also, for New Year's Day, there's a Japanese soup called ozoni.
Okay.
So it's like you take the sake that's been sitting in the butsudan all year and you throw it in the soup and miso and soy sauce and mirin and sesame oil, I think. And
why is my heat not kicking in?
That's worrisome.
Oh. Sorry. Sorry, we're getting chilly. I'm fighting with my split unit. Does that sound like it's blowing air at us?
And then it stopped.
Why would it do that?
Is your heater having technical malfunctions?
It is, and I'm cold, and I might need socks. Low air on me. Sometimes it takes a minute or two to sense the temperature and trigger everything.
Right on.
But I set it to 80, so it's going to detect it is not 80 degrees in here.
Not 80 degrees.
So hopefully I will be less cold and you will be less cold. Would you like a blanket?
I'm all right.
Okay. Because I've got couch throws right there.
Right on.
So that sounds really tasty.
Yeah. Mushrooms, both portobello and enoki, and carrots, and I like to cut the stars into the portobellos
and
cute. Make the carrots into sakura petals
Oh,
and
nice.
blossoms. And
Wow.
and then there's mochi, which is like the New Year's, like that is the dish that you consume on New Year's.
Oh, okay.
Is the mochi. So the ozoni is just like one of the many dishes that involve mochi that you can consume it in such a way.
Is our New Year's the traditional New Year's or calendar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Buddhist New Year's is January 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
But it's more about New Year's Day and less about New Year's Eve.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Growing up, I actually never really celebrated New Year's Eve, except like once or twice when I was a teen. I knew the ball drop was a big thing in like New York or whatever, but in my family, we're Virginians, and our tradition is cabbage and black-eyed peas on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
The thought is it's for wealth in the coming year, and black-eyed peas represent like coin money, and cabbage represents like leaf money. But also, I think some level of cabbage is super cheap, and this should be the poorest meal you eat that year, and that's the hope there. So
just cabbage, or is it corned beef and cabbage?
Not usually corned beef, but I think sometimes Mom would like chop up ham to put with it. We usually had some leftover ham, maybe some sausage in it. When I do it, Mom would boil the the cabbage, and I hated cabbage growing up. I would eat it in coleslaw, but like I would eat Amanda's black-eyed peas, and she'd eat my cabbage for me, and because we're both like ew at the other thing. And then my ex stir-fried cabbage for me with sausage, so it soaks up all that sausagey flavor. And I don't mind it.
Yeah.
And it's not been boiled to mush.
Yeah.
So the other aspect is that egg rolls.
Okay.
The filling is cabbage.
Oh, there you go.
You have cabbage and maybe some kind of meat in there. So that's a great way to have your cabbage without having to deal with strange overboiled versions.
I did talk Mom into coleslaw a couple of years when I got older, and realized it was coming, and knew that I wasn't gonna like it. But yeah, these days I'll just like get a sausage and dice it up, and take a half a head of cabbage and dice it up and saute it for like, long enough that the sausage is cooked all the way or heated all the way through because it's already pre-cooked.
Right.
And then I have sausage flavored cabbage, and
hooray!
And that also works with sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Because sauerkraut is cabbage.
I don't actually like sauerkraut.
Yeah, well, that would be a problem.
I've never been a fan myself. And my mom is my mom's German, so of course pork and kraut are New Year's Day staples. And I was like, can I just not eat kraut?
I find that interesting because I can't stand coleslaw, and
I'll eat like 80% of coleslaws out there. I don't mind the apple coleslaw. I don't mind the coleslaw with all the like carrot peels. I don't mind the coleslaw with like raisins in it. I don't mind the creamy ones. I don't mind the vinegar ones, but there are some that just aren't right. Everybody has their own coleslaw. Coleslaw, I think, is one of the most diverse foods with a single name.
Yeah.
But it's like I've never done well with coleslaw, but I have absolutely no problem with sauerkraut. And generally,
more for you.
and generally with cabbage, it really depends on how it's cooked.
As I said, sautéed. Oh my gosh! When I learned grilled asparagus doesn't taste like the canned stuff.
Oh my gosh, grilled asparagus is divine.
So much better. I actually eat that, but growing up, asparagus was one of the very few green vegetables that my stepdad would eat.
Oh.
And but Mom didn't like asparagus, so she would just give him the canned stuff because he liked the canned stuff and nobody else was going to eat it. So it didn't make sense for her to go through the effort.
Right.
But then I had roommates and they fixed me some. And I was like, this isn't crap.
This isn't crap. I don't understand.
Right?
I've been led to believe all my life this is not crap.
Right? Also, kale does not have to be boiled within an inch of his life and made palatable by heaps and heaps and heaps of relish.
Yeah.
Oh, when I was doing the Blue Apron meals, we got a meal with kale, and it's like, I've never had this stuff, but what the hell? I'll go ahead and try it. And
It's bitter spinach
I
that we grow in the South.
I think we like, I forget exactly how we prepared it, but I think it was like stir frying it or something like that. So it wilted a little bit from the heat, but it was still crunchy. It was very tasty. And
They made kale chips. Did you saute it with something or just by itself in oil?
I don't remember right now. I'm
Boiled within an inch of its life, not my favorite.
No. It's kind of like spinach. It's like, I have no problem eating a spinach salad any day of the week.
Yeah.
But yes, I will drench it with dressing because I like dressing. If I wasn't supposed to have dressing, why did you make dressing? But but if you're going to take spinach and you're going to boil it until it's this strange, noxious mass, it's like, why would I want to eat that?
No.
My husband has gotten to the point where he blanches his spinach.
Okay.
Rather than cooking it. Yeah. So it is still a bright, healthy green, but it is, and it still has a little bit of crunch to it.
Okay.
But even though it is technically like, fettuccine Alfredo with spinach in it.
Right. If it's in a cheese dish, I'll eat it.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma growing up had a backyard garden, the footprint of a average, rancher house, maybe larger, because she grew up during the Depression.
Right.
And one of the things she always had was butter beans. And I was told that butter beans were basically lima beans, but she always made it with bits of ham and cooked up with it. So, it's a starch that mostly tastes like the ham it was cooked up in. And so I was like, why is lima bean horrible? This is fine. I don't understand.
Yeah, because lima beans by themselves
I don't know that I've ever had them solo.
I've had lima beans solo, and I kind of don't mind them.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes it's like there's just not enough flavor in this.
Right.
And that may be more of a case of it's not paired well with something rather than there's something wrong with the beans, or it's just I'm not feeling them right now. But
I think we're learning that anything cooked up with pork, Morgan will eat.
Yeah, pretty much. I have a problem.
I keep wanting to go a little more meals that are vegetarian, but I really like pork.
Yeah.
And I'm often borderline anemic, so red meat is good for me.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
And as we said, there's only certain ways I'll eat spinach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would be cooking the sausage, plenty of pork, other meats, lots of spices in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Toe the Lion said that we often have crotons for the holidays. Are they for some reason, my brain says that crotons are a type of crepe, but I could be totally wrong. Let's see what Google has to say, or I guess you could tell us. Let's see which is faster with the delay. Oh, no. Croton is a force meat style pork spread with onions and spices.
Ooh.
Oh, it sounds like basically deviled pork.
Oh, okay.
Deviled ham kind of thing.
Okay.
So, okay, I know what deviled ham is. So I can mentally, my taste buds can, what's the taste bud version of visualize?
Oh. Yeah.
My mouth is salivating now.
You can imagine it with your tongue. Wait,
Yes, that one. I remember in college, a friend got sick, and we brought her like soup and like orange juice.
Mm.
And I was like, if you don't eat it, I will feed it to you.
Mm.
And then I said, if you don't drink it, I will drink for it. But there's no word for making someone drink something.
Well, there's a phrase, pour it down your throat.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, Toast says it's like a pork pate.
Yeah.
So.
Snickerdoodles.
Ooh.
Mm.
So, of snacks I have here, I have pecan clusters.
Mm.
I have dulce de leche. Wait. Owls. Oh, wait. Here. There you go. Are they not cute?
They are cute, and I would love to have one, but I'm not there.
And these already open peanut butter bears. There we go. Woo, I'm going for one. This one's already open.
Go for it.
Did you need one?
I might.
I mean, it's right there. And it's peanut butter, and it's a bear. It's a teddy bear. I have teddy bears in my tree.
You do.
So I've got actual teddy bears, and I have actual stuffed bears. I call them my tree bears. They go in the tree set.
Right on.
As long as they don't turn into drop bears, you're okay.
They're indoor bears, not outdoor bears. They have very different appetites and behaviors. So it is safe to sleep with an indoor bear or let them roam your house, but outdoor bears, less so.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I know one of my holiday favorites were always petit fours, and it's like I cannot find them anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like it used to be around this time of year. You go into the grocery store, you'd see little boxes of petit fours. We'd go and grab up all the ones that we could find, and now there's just nothing.
Sorry, I have to take a selfie to prove that we're here. Okay.
That was necessary.
It was necessary.
Should I ask you to do another selfie with the screens showing so that you can show me there too?
Here we go. Lean in. Cheese. You are totally whited out, though. The screen's too bright. Well, we tried.
We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in Photoshop, right?
Also, the light umbrella is right behind the screen.
Yeah.
So. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're at 6:21.
Oh, wow.
Is there anything about our writing or... Oh, you were going to tell us about publishing, not just your writing for next year.
Oh, the publishing was the horror boudoir book.
Right. Yeah.
Publishing in 2022.
Yay.
Which...
Is that hard to say? 2022.
2022, yes. A little bit.
I'm going to assume our volume's been okay because nobody's asked, what did you say? But I guess 8 minutes before the end of the stream is a great time to do a sound check.
I've heard you pretty well all the way through. So
Okay,
good.
great.
Good. Because I didn't change my microphone settings.
Mm-hmm.
And it does the directional and it does the, so. But I always have to look it up because I don't change the settings often.
Yeah.
And it's like we haven't heard Catechus meowing in the background or anything like that.
He's not been that loud. He just looks at us and looks sad.
Looks
and does
longingly at the glass door.
Does a couple paws. Right now he's taking a bath. I mean,
looks at you and goes, "Jacuzzi."
Et tu, brute?
Well, I was at the con. I had a friend swing by, and they said they hung out with Catechus for like 2 hours, and he snuggled, played, launched himself with claws at them.
Oh.
So I don't know if he was just mad that I hadn't come home or like the play wasn't enough.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe he was playing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So yay! Toe says online they can hear us too, not just on the StreamYard.
Okay, good.
So, I mean, I would have hoped somebody in our audience would have said something sooner.
Something sooner.
A little bit.
But yeah. What cons are you hoping to hit next year? Are you going to try and panel? Are you going to try and table? Are you just going to go and rub elbows?
I might try and table at the March Monster Mania.
Okay.
And try and sell Flambeau and Hope's Chest. Well, I shouldn't sell Hope's Chest.
Really?
But
why?
Because it's technically fan art or fan fiction.
But I thought you can sell it through
I can sell it through Storyteller's Vault, yes. But
can you get like
USBN?
The thing that looks like pixels that people scan.
Oh, QR code?
Yes, thank you. Can you get like a QR code sort of thing that would have them buy it from that and then
For the ebooks, that is kind of the direction that I intend on going.
Okay.
I found a vendor who basically hosts ebooks, and you basically buy the card,
right?
And you can have them sign the card and all of that jazz. And you were at Imaginarium,
right?
I saw the vendor.
That's where I got the idea.
Yeah,
I was like, that seems like the way to lean in.
That is definitely the way to lean in. Especially, I think we're going to go to hard copy at some juncture during 2022. Okay. That would be really great.
Would you have like, I don't know, a 50-cent or $1 discount for people who already had the ebook?
Probably.
Okay. I'm just thinking about the future, not that I'm there yet, but my dream. I will be there someday.
Yeah.
One way or the other, I will be. But, it's just how much I want to lean on traditional publishing and how much I want to do the legwork myself. So it's just, you've got to do a lot more legwork when it's indie. So much more legwork.
Well, when it's indie, there's no one to do the legwork but you.
Yeah.
And some traditional publishing, they'll sign you up for all kinds of stuff, and then they'll come back and say, "Oh, and you have to do the legwork." So
yeah. From what I've heard, though, with traditional, even if they don't do the legwork for you, they should still give you like a checklist of things you should be doing and have the connections at the places so they know who to talk to. So you don't have to start over from square one.
Starting from scratch, yeah.
Right, yeah. So Toe the Lion says MagFest.
Oh, so Kibby is coming to visit me during the week that MagFest is happening.
Awesome.
So I won't be taking her to MagFest this year.
Okay.
I think I have pretty much retired myself from MagFest.
Yeah.
Unless I do a table.
Right. But it leans in towards the video game crowd.
Yes, it does.
If it did more of the tabletop, I think they'd be perfect for Hope's Chest.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Toe the Lion asks, do we have websites or Twitter or something to follow and see when you might have tables? On my YouTube, I have them linked, but she can tell you where to find her.
Yeah, absolutely. I can be found on the internet as Sako to me or Sako. You can pretty much just Google that, and you find my social media pretty much anywhere.
There we go. And I typed it in. Hi, Barrett. Hello.
Hi, Barrett.
Better late than never.
And for me, I'm everywhere as Morgan Hazelwood, except Twitter, where Morgan Hazelwood, because someone is not using the account since 2010.
So it's the A that's missing, right?
No, it's the A and the E.
Okay.
It's HZL Wood. Yeah. So, but yeah, my YouTube is YouTube/Morgan Hazelwood. My website is morganhazelwood.com. My podcast is Writing Tips and Writerly Musings. But you can find it at fireside.fm or morganhazelwood.fireside.fm.
Right on.
My Twitter is Morgan Hazelwood. My Reddit, my Pinterest, which I should use more.
Yeah.
My Facebook, and I also have a Morgan Hazelwood author page, which might actually be the short link.
I'm trying to make the Cass Voit profile, claim the Cass Voit profile for Goodreads.
Yeah.
And it keeps kicking me out because it won't let me attach the horror author Cass Voit Facebook. It will only allow me to connect Sako to me.
Have you tried like an incognito window where you're already signed in on Facebook to Cass Voit and then opening the Goodreads? Because it might be getting cookies from whatever Facebook you're logged in with.
Maybe.
Did that make sense?
It did.
So try incognito window, log in Facebook, then Goodreads.
Is Cass Voit an author page or is it an actual Facebook profile?
It is an author page.
Oh, I don't know if
it may only let you use an actual Facebook profile.
Yeah.
So. Ooh, hey, check it out. Toe says they have expanded and now have a whole second building for tabletop games at MagFest.
Oh.
Like right there.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, the whole reason I haven't been before is because I haven't recovered from helping my friend with her ridiculous New Year's Eve party by MagFest.
Yeah.
But since it ended, I thought I might be able to go, and then COVID, and now I'm going to be helping my mom recover.
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing well. She asked me to stay vague, so I'm staying vague. So yeah. I don't know where Barrett is, but MagFest is in the DC area. It's in National Harbor. Is
National
it at
Harbor?
Yeah, at the Gaylord.
At the Gaylord.
Yep. Also the home of KatsuCon and KatsuCon is a local anime convention in February. So those I think are the two biggest in DC.
And Otakon.
Otakon. Yeah.
Yep.
Anime USA.
Anime USA is usually in Tyson's Corner.
Tyson's Corner. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anime USA. I went I went to once because a friend asked me to help model something for a fashion thing. And I was helping bring pizzas down to the artist alley. And I had this many pizzas. And that's when I learned I can't step on an escalator if I can't see my feet.
Oh.
And I ended up with a gouge halfway up my leg because I just got to the step and panicked. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh, Morgan!
I ended up sitting down on the step and just trying not to have a meltdown. And then somebody helped me get and there were 3 flights of escalator to get down to the artist alley. It was so rough.
Were you going up or down the escalator?
Down.
Okay.
The artist alley was at the very, very lowest level. You come in at the ground level, and I don't know. It's a weird building.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Barrett sends energy for my mom and loves the background. It's not a background; it's a tree that Catechist was climbing.
Talking about the book frame on the screen.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing.
I
do not have psychic link with Barrett. So.
I took a Canva one, flipped it, and changed the color saturation so it would look slightly less familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if I made it blurrier too.
No.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I play with stuff. So, yeah. Barrett says my tree is lovely. And Toe sympathizes with my poor leg. It's since healed. Probably 10 years ago, but that trauma has stayed with me, and I'm very careful with escalators.
Yeah.
And I never noticed how much I look at my feet when I'm on stairs before that incident, and now I'm very cognitive of it. Yeah, cognizant. Okay.
Conscious.
Yes, we'll go with that one.
other words that are in the thesaurus entry. So,
right. So what cons are you gonna hit, Doc?
Well, for Toad the Lion, you can find my stuff by searching Doc Coleman Steampunk. I'm at doccoleman.com. I've got an author page on Amazon, and
your Twitter is Scalesy.
My Twitter is Scalesley.
Sorry, Scalesley.
Scales LEA. And that
ends with C. I thought it was water. I thought it was a pirate thing, because aren't you tangential to the local pirate community?
I am. Part of the whole Scalesley thing came about because of when I was working at the Guess Your Weight scale at the Renaissance Festival. And and that doesn't exist anymore. But at the time I was no, not Scales C, Scalesley.
There's an extra L in there?
There's an L between the S and the E. And the line I use was that I am Robert of Scalesley, for I stand in the lee of the scale. Because at the time they had a big scale built up there, and I was standing on one side. And LEA is one of the alternative English spellings for LEE, which is actually the side of the boat. I believe that's towards the shore. I could be wrong. But it worked out, and it was one of those things that's like, nobody else is coming up with this. I can use this everywhere. It will always be.
Yeah.
So that's what I did when I grabbed a Twitter handle, and that was before.
Did you know you can change Twitter handles?
I have since found out.
Which is why I'm dreaming of them releasing Morgan Hazelwood to me, because all of my followers will automatically still be following me.
Yeah. But the question, the latest question was about cons that I'm planning for next year.
Right.
And because my family is very risk sensitive as far as COVID's concerned, a fair amount of that's up in the air. Obviously, I want to do Balticon.
Right. That's where we met.
Yep.
Sorry, I was making a comment to somebody, and I was trying to make it just go to YouTube, and instead I sent it just to Twitch. Carry on. I'm sorry.
Actually, we first met at the Renaissance Festival. You were there with your sister, and I had already known her.
Oh, okay.
But it was, you didn't do more than just like wave, pose for a picture, and leave. So,
right. We met for realsies.
But we actually met and talked to each other at Balticon.
When you were 3 doors down from me and got locked out of your room for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. The door broke.
Yeah.
The electronic door scanner died.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, and I actually had to go down and talk to him at the front desk, because I was the one who checked in the room, and then go and wait for an engineer to show up.
Oh, no.
It was and you invited me to your launch party, and that's when I found out you're an amazing voice actor. And
thank you. More.
And then you write humorous stuff.
Yep.
Humorous stuff goes over so much better at cons than sweet stuff, and I just don't write humor.
Yeah. I mostly got humor, horror things at Imaginarium.
I get snarkin, but
yeah,
and sarcasm. I did get a couple chuckles from like, oh great, that sort of thing, but more situational irony than full out chuckles.
Part of that is that the
you're funnier than I am.
Well, I don't know about that, but the laughter is an involuntary response. So if you can deliver a good funny line, you get that immediate response from your audience, and that boosts you up, so you do better going through the rest of it. But
right. I'm hearing you enjoy that external validation, sugar.
I prefer to refer to it as feedback.
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
So definitely want to do Balticon. Definitely doing Key City Steampunk
Okay.
up in Gettysburg. The rest of it right now is all kind of up in the air.
Right.
I'm expecting that I'm going to be doing another signing at the Maryland Renaissance Festival.
Because they like you and you like them and it's your home.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like this past year was the first time I didn't like sell out all my books.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the last, I hope everyone likes humor books as they start publishing.
I think so. I would hope so. I think we all need something a little, I got into a talk about somebody who has issues with steampunk. Not steampunk as steam as like power, but steampunk as in how do you fly with that much water? Isn't the water super heavy? People who remember steam say it's super loud and dirty. So how do you? And I was like, I don't remember people screaming over the sound of the engines in Doc's story. So how do you handle that?
The reality is that all of your lift in steampunk comes from either hydrogen or helium, depending on what you have access to.
Oh,
and
the helium ship's not steam, literally steam.
Well, there may be steam engines to drive the propellers, but the lift is from the gas. It's
okay,
and they're known as lighter than airships.
Right.
So it's a question of did you design the ship big enough to handle the gas to displace all of the weight of the ship and all of the cargo on your ship?
Right.
And honestly, in the third book, I actually go into some of that stuff because they've got all these systems built into the ship to keep it in trim by pumping gas from one place to the other.
Yeah.
So that the lift is even. And I've made no bones about the fact that my characters are roaming around in a big ass airship.
Yeah. So I have a question. I think there's a classic sci-fi story about what's the name of it? Something Cold Equations, maybe, where a stowaway has to get killed so the medical supplies can get where they're going.
Yeah, I believe that's a sci-fi story set in space that somebody stowed away aboard a spaceship, and it kind of screwed up the fuel equations, so they have to make they basically don't have the air and don't have the fuel to get where they're going in time.
Right. So I was just curious if you would ever do an airship version of that.
Book 3.
Okay.
We don't actually kill people, but they start jettisoning weight because they've taken battle damage, and some of that punctured the lift.
Gotcha.
The lift balloons.
Okay. Toe said, I think questions like this were my favorite part of DisCon, the other name for WorldCon that I just got back from because it's in DC. So
yeah.
First time attender. Okay. And there was an entire panel on the science of making ice cream in your home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's like when I first started the books, I wanted to do the airship because the airships are cool. Then I actually sat down to do the research and found out airships are still a major thing in terms of shipping. If you want to ship anything that is really big and heavy, you will get it lifted by an airship.
Where?
Everywhere, all over the world.
But I've never seen one.
That's because there's not a lot of shipping for things that are that large and heavy.
I mean, I'm just saying, I saw the shuttle getting carried from wherever to Dulles.
On the back of a jet plane, yeah. So that's just the thought of there are things that are bigger and heavier than that get shipped around.
Yeah. Well, it is 6:43. I'm happy to keep hanging out, but Sako has Mr. Sako's birthday to go celebrate.
Yes.
So her links are down below on the YouTubes, and I think we discussed them all for our lovely Twitch followers. So yay, thank you, Sako, for coming in person, and say hi to Mr. Sako for me.
We'll definitely.
And take them in fudge with you.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, if you're having people over, did you want to take the peanut butter as well?
Greg would probably appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
And say happy birthday for him.
I'll be back in just a minute. We'll see if we can keep a certain kitty out.
Hmm.
Oh.
And I guess you're
I wanted to point out
I saw your dragon.
it actually has a light that will light up. Doc, take it away. I'll be back in just a minute.
pretty much, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the power to click on the comments to get them to come up, but Toe the Lion asked, are blimps considered airships? Blimps are another example of lighter than airship, but the big difference between an airship and a blimp, yeah, welcome to the Doc Show, is the blimps are basically a shaped balloon with a cabin hung under it, while an airship is actually the shape that you see is built on a frame, and it's usually actually hard on the outside, and you have individual what they refer to as gas envelopes inside, stacked up in that space. But airships are usually built on a scale large enough that there's other things up into that fuselage. So while you still have what's called a gondola underneath that has your piloting and a lot of your other amenities for passengers and crew, there's a whole lot of engineering spaces up in that upper side. Yeah, I was very happy to discover that in my early research, and I've had a lot of fun with it in the books. And let's see, it actually when I was working on my second book, one of the first things I did is I wrote a bit where my characters are basically testing my narrator's ability at marksmanship. So they went to the most logical place they could think of for shooting guns in an airship. They went and stood on top of the ship. They opened a hatch and crawled out on the top hull and set up skeet traps and started firing skeet off the side of the airship. And that ended up not making it into the book, but it lives on as a short story that I published in my short story collection, The Shining Cog and Other Steampunk Stories. So there are all kinds of fascinating things that you find out when you start looking at old technology, either stuff that you didn't realize that it could do, or just things that we used to use because we didn't have a better way that have since been replaced because we've got electrical alternatives to it. But,
woo!
All right. Oh, what have you got there?
The sparkling stuff.
Oh, nice.
It makes me feel fancy without getting drunk.
Hmm.
Toe says, welcome to the Doc Show.
Yeah.
So I heard you were talking about the peculiarities of airships and such.
Yep. I was talking a lot about the differences between blimps and airships, some of the neater
cushy chair.
She's gone for the comfy chair.
I mean, yeah, we had it tilted away because that window has sheer curtains. And so the lighting was a little
off until the sun went down.
Pretty much. So.
Yeah.
So you said Balticon, you said the steampunk.
Yeah.
Anything else on your list?
Key City Steampunk. I've been looking at I've been looking at Mysticon, and I was looking at another couple cons early in the year. I'd like to go back to RavenCon, but
I'm still a guest because they invited me in 2020. Or sorry, not invited. I signed up and they accepted my application. The difference is invited guests get paid for. Panelists who apply pay their own way relatively. Maybe get a discount on admission. But I do get to be on the panels.
For RavenCon?
For RavenCon, yeah. They just pushed it out. They're like, do you mind coming next year instead? And I said, sure. And so.
Yeah, it's like, I like RavenCon, but
I've never been. And it's moving back to Richmond, I think, or something. Was it in Williamsburg and now it's in Richmond or vice versa? I can't remember.
It was in Richmond. It went to Williamsburg for a couple of years, and I guess they're moving back to Richmond. Although I kind of like the hotel in Williamsburg.
I mean, Williamsburg was right outside of where I grew up, so.
Yeah. I liked the fact that the staff at the hotel liked us being there. I mean, the staff would cosplay.
That's awesome.
And that was fun as all get out.
Wait, RavenCon is not a Baltimore convention? I know it should be.
No, because as much as Poe is associated with Baltimore, he actually grew up around he's actually from around Richmond. So
we get to claim him too.
Yeah, we can claim him twice if you go to both. No.
I get to say we as a Virginian.
But yeah, I keep forgetting that RavenCon is one of those cons where you've got to apply every year, and I've gotten it a couple times by coming in at the last minute. You know, one year they actually sent me an invite that I didn't apply for, so I was thinking that was, you know, that they had their favorites that they sent invites out to. And
I'm going to say staff turnover happens a lot with conventions, so it could have just been who was in charge that year.
Yeah, it probably was a matter of them changing how they dealt with their invites.
Right. It could have just been somebody like, I don't know who to invite. Well, here's the list of people from last year. We'll just go with that.
Yeah.
Or we're short on people who applied who normally shows. Maybe they just forgot and reached out, you know?
Yeah. But but now with the pandemic being in this weird state where it's like a lot of people are just saying, we're over it, and the infection rates and everything still fluxing in bad ways.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure the con is doing everything they can to make sure everyone's healthy and has a good time.
Right.
But I'm more risk averse than other people, so
yeah. I have no problem with other people determining their own comfort level. You know. And while I was at the convention this weekend, there was one or two people who have tested positive. But it sounds like they were not in the space I was. They were not staying at the hotel, which helps me feel a little more comfortable. Everyone was masked. Everyone was required to have their 2-shot vaccination and be at least 2 weeks out. I didn't see very many noses. And I only ate in my room solo or outside. I ate with people once, but I was on the end of the table solo, you know, away from people. But, you know, I know my risk factor. I am a little concerned about visiting my mom. but I do have COVID rapid tests. I've got 4 of them. And part of the reason I skipped today was obviously to join y'all for this amazing party, but also so that I could have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, test on Wednesday and go down, so I could have at least 72 hours post any possible interaction. So I figured the longer I had before going down to see my mom, the more accurate the test would be for exposure.
Yeah. The more likely you'd have something throw up if you'd actually been exposed. So.
Exactly. I mean, I could test for Thursday, Friday right now, but so. Yeah. And there's also the, I visited my mother post-surgery in a hospital, and I went to the cafeteria. So who knows what people there had too. My mom's in Richmond right now, and Richmond is having a spike. So yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Toe says, I'm only doing conventions that require both vaccines and masks and rapid tests. Before and after is smart. Sorry for the caps. Yeah. So.
No, I heard that one of the staffers at WorldCon
we actually had an update. They tested negative, but someone else tested positive, but they had a similar. They swung through the art show at 6 p.m. on Thursday and ate at this one place outside and is staying off site.
Yeah. So. No. What I heard was that they had arrived at the hotel, had tested negative.
Right.
So they figured they were good. They did some stuff. Yeah. The next morning, they did another test because they were very diligent. And that's when they hit a positive test, at which point they basically informed people, encapsulated themselves, and went home.
Yeah.
Which was the responsible thing to do. Yeah. But I bring it up only because of the idea of getting the tests and testing yourself every day when going to a convention. It seemed like a really smart thing to do.
Ooh. So I should test right now?
That's up to you. If you're basically going to be home for the next few days, you're probably good to wait. But
it's very uncomfortable to test. And when I had my doctor test me, to get the nasal swab up high enough triggers my tear ducts, and it was very uncomfortable, and I did not like it. But I do have 4 tests, rapid tests in the house, so I am prepared. If I wasn't sure if I should test today and on the day I plan to go down, or because I know there's a window where you will test before and after,
Yeah, I unless you're going to be around other people, I think you're probably better off waiting until you test.
Yeah. I would have loved to have you over here as well, but I was coming straight from a con, and your risk factor is such I didn't feel comfortable, breathing your same air. And it's lovely to have the mask off.
Yes.
Did you hear about the Hugos last night and why they were delayed 2 hours?
I did not hear about them being delayed. I saw some of the posts that you made about people that won.
Vernon, writing as T. Kingfisher, won twice, and her acceptance speech was not an acceptance speech. Instead, it was her telling us fun facts about slime molds.
Yes, I did hear about the fact that that everyone was regaled with amazing facts about slime molds.
It was pretty awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Plus, this past year, she's become one of my favorite authors. So, and I've been following her on Twitter for ages. I have like 3 authors that I find share humorous things about their day-to-day life that I just have in a list, so I can always see those posts. So, I mean, Toe the Lion's right. I mean, obviously, slime molds are pretty cool.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. I missed the speech, but
I think the Hugos you can find the recording online. Like everything else is, paywall basically, but I think the Hugos are public. So
yeah, I'll have to go looking for it sometime.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go looking because I was in a loud room and there were closed captioning, but it just wasn't the same. I was for Balticon, I was trying really hard to live tweet and live Facebook the winners and reshare. So I was mostly like refresh, share to the group. A couple times accidentally share to my own feed. And then switch over to Twitter. And there was a bit of a delay for my live stream versus the stream in the room next to us. I made new friends and they decided to play Munchkin through the awards.
But played Munchkin through the awards
while I had it up on my laptop live streaming with closed captioning.
Okay.
And we did take a break for the memorial and go in and listen to the singers. There were a lot of people on it. It was really, and I think the way they do it is really good. It has fans, it has authors, fans and where they're from, and authors and publishers and just everything everyone in the industry and the community. And a lot of times if you go to cons regularly, you'll see people normally and then you won't see them and you don't know if they moved away or what happened. And so I think it's a really good thing to have. So.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Renaissance Festival experience where you see somebody for the first time since last season, and it's like you used to always see them with their significant other, and then you ask about them, and it's like, oh, disasters happened in the months between. So
yeah, and it's either they've split up or health issues or they have moved on to the next experience post life.
Yeah.
So Toad the Lion says the virtual system for panels was pretty cool and had a good transcription setup. Yeah. I think with the pandemic, most transcription places now let you pre-enter names that are going to come up. So I think that way it helps them recognize names that might not be in their database typically and go for that if they're trying to guess. Because,
especially if they're using some kind of machine learning in order to figure out what people have said, that makes sense to pre-populate it with potential good answers.
Right, exactly. So, I think that's, really clever. And obviously I can see the formula and how that could work. I mean, I don't know I could code it, but I can definitely see that, hey, we're putting these into the lexicon. Is a pretty good idea.
Yeah. I hope that some of the things we've been learning about doing virtual conventions and events keep getting held. I mean, I'm seeing two strands. One is just wanting to get back to in-person conventions and dropping all the virtual stuff. But there's so many benefits to having the virtual stuff.
Yeah, I think hybrid is definitely the way to go. I think for those who, want to, who can afford, whose health is up to it, attending in person is obviously where a lot of us want to be. But for people who, maybe can't do crowds or their health or finances just don't allow the in-person, having the other option and at least having some of the experience available, I think is a really good thing. And we shouldn't take that away from people who finally got to attend and hang out with people 5 continents over,
Yeah. And I've got friends who would go to the in-person convention, but their energy levels are so brittle that they might go out and hit the dealer's room in the morning, and then by mid-afternoon their energy's gone.
Yeah.
And to be able to at least virtually participate in some of the evening events so they're not missing out on everything.
Right.
That's right.
going out in public for a bit, going back to their hotel room and listening to stuff while they're resting or in a position that's more comfortable for them, you know?
Yeah.
So that way they're not isolated while their friends are off having fun. They can, you know, at least do some of the events and stuff as well.
They have some way to participate.
And with closed captioning, it opens it up a lot more to people with hearing issues or who might not speak the language comfortably that the panel is being held in or the event. So because, you know, closed captioning can be in your language. So that really, really expands, you know, who can enjoy the event.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of people who sort of speak English, but, you know, it's not their first language. And science fiction, you know, discussions can get really esoteric with, you know, very tricky, precise language that might not pop up in, you know, when you're learning English. So, so yeah, I'm really excited about the future of hybridization, but it does mean I'm worried about having enough staff.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And although I did hear that we may be able to access some of the Worldcon equipment and borrow it for our events, which makes sense. You know, one regional convention has the equipment, and so they loan it out to other regional events that they have good relationships with and will treat the equipment with the proper respect. And
let's be honest, they hire it out to other places.
Right.
And it probably means that they're also not only giving the equipment, but providing the crew, which means the crew gets to go to more conventions.
Well, I mean, I think there's a toss-up between getting to go to more conventions and working your butt off for 5 days, but also hanging out with those people you like to hang out with, you know? So
it seems to be there's a lot of people in the convention circuit that would happily just do conventions.
Yeah.
if it paid well enough.
Yeah. I've run into several people that I know from other conventions who are like, I don't even know what this con does, but you know, I'm part of tech and the other techies were doing this one and they asked, so here I am.
Yeah.
So
Toad the Lion's got another question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. So the virtual setup for panels was really cool. Oh, wait, did that one. Okay. It honestly felt weird not going in person to DisCon because it's right here. Am I headed to Chicago next year? I don't know yet. My dad used to live there, so I've definitely been to Chicago before. And, you know, August isn't the worst time in Chicago. Usually Worldcon is in August for those who are unfamiliar. But I don't know. One more fun fact about Worldcons, they're all nicknamed by the city that they're in. So DisCon was DC Con, and I think the Chicago one's going to be ChiCon, right? Doc, did you freeze?
I'm not sure. I'm actually trying to look up.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to look up the dates.
Right. And Chengdu won for next 2024. 23, yeah.
So it's going to be ChiCon 8, the 80th science fiction convention.
So that means Chicago's managed to claim Worldcon 8 times. Yep. This was DisCon 3 because DC's only managed to get it 3 times, and the last time was like 73 or something.
And the dates are September 1st through 5th.
Oh, does that mean they're competing with DragonCon?
I think it may be because that sounds like Labor Day weekend.
Isn't it usually mid-August instead of late August?
For Worldcons, I am not sure. But
this year, between the pandemic, Delta spiking, and they actually lost their hotel contract. That's why I just got back from Worldcon here in December, a week before the holidays, or at least my holidays. Technically, you know, I also do solstice, which is in 2 days. But yeah, so
yeah.
So
but, yeah. I mean, I would definitely love to go.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of it depends on
timing and budgets and how COVID is looking.
Yeah, but it's like I've got a number of friends in Chicago.
Okay.
Not that they're necessarily friends that could put me up for the weekend. That would be nice though.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to be able to be out there and see them, at least have some local folks to help take advantage of the town in appropriate ways when not actually doing convention stuff. But
Right. So I think my other hesitation on Chicago is all the cons I've driven to, and airports make me very anxious because, yeah, at a convention, there's going to be people from all over, but at an airport, no one is from there. And so you're getting all the different contaminants from, wherever people are flying in from. And so that just feels higher risk to me, even though I know they have the air filters and stuff and things, but my anxiety is much higher about that. And, my room had its own air unit at the hotel, so I felt comfortable eating there, but, so. And there were windows. You know what you can't open in an airplane or an airport?
You can't open windows. Yeah.
A lot of the rooms had balconies at the hotel. So like you could open and step out and, drink your drink or eat a quick snack or something in open air, even if you weren't like on the main floor. So yeah. Toe the Line says, yeah, the airport is my anxiety spot too. I canceled a trip to San Fran for a friend's wedding, but it felt okay to go to one in Massachusetts because I could drive. And they would probably drive to Chicago if they go. So
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Driving is an option. It's just it takes a chunk more time.
Yeah. And I don't know on how much vacation time I have and what's going on. So I haven't committed, but I'm not against it, I think is where I'm at right now.
Yeah. No, ironically, I'm in a really good place as far as vacation time is, because I'm like carrying over the maximum vacation time into the new year. I'm carrying over that, plus I'm carrying over a 40-hour time off award. Which that is nice, but I've got to use it before like mid-March. But it's like, so any leave I take at the beginning of the year is like, it's coming out of that.
It's free. It's
free leave. But it does mean it's like, if I was going to do that, I would have time. And part of the reason that I was saving this up so much is there was talk about doing I think it was either the Bristol or the Michigan Renaissance Festival.
Okay.
But I think those are out near Chicago, or north of Chicago. And
are they in August?
That's the problem. I think it's at the wrong end of the month. I think it's like I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's close enough to September to merge up, because we were thinking about driving out. We were actually thinking about hitting 2 different Ren fairs on consecutive weekends and just kind of driving out there and exploring for the week between.
Yeah. The Indiana Ren fair that's closest to Chicago, is that Bristol? Isn't it technically the next state over? Like the entrance to it is the road that is the border between the states or something?
It's something like that. Unfortunately,
that was my first Ren fair, and my dad had a friend make us costumes with drawstrings because you don't know how big a 13-year-old girl is going to be.
I was going to say, so how old were you when this happened?
And my late mother-in-law, my late stepmother. There we go.
There we go.
Right. right relationship, just different direction.
Yeah.
She had an Australian bearded dragon that she had on her shoulder with a little leash, and every so often it would move, and then crowds would be like, "Wait, is that real?" And then people would ask and pet it, and then we'd move on. But yeah, so. Toe says, in that general area, I've only been to the O-Ren, so I assume Ohio Ren Fair.
Yeah, I would assume so as well.
So,
but it's like
I've only been to obviously that one, the Maryland and the Virginia, both before and after its implosion.
Before,
It moved.
basically before it went independent.
Yeah.
The original Virginia was a corporate Ren Fair, and it got closed down for tax reasons. And basically the cast resurrected the name in a new Ren Fair, which is what's currently going on. It's like, so I've been to Maryland. I've been to both incarnations of Virginia.
I went to it when it was originally outside of Fredericksburg, I think once. I went to it when it was just north of Doswell, and now it's out near Smith Mountain Lake or something, I think, out Route 3.
I believe it's Lake Anna.
Lake Anna. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's the Lake Anna Winery.
Yes.
That is the new permanent site. Permanent site, but it's like there's not a lot of permanent site buildings there, but
yeah, it's very tiny. It feels almost like a local SCA groups event.
Yeah, well, at that time it was you had a cast that was searching for a home,
right?
So they were moving it around to different places during this in the state in order to get interest and to keep people wanting to have a Virginia Renaissance Festival.
Yeah. They still had some decent vendors, a couple food booths, and the court and everything. So, but it was a very different experience.
Right.
Do you need to go, Doc? I know we're.
I've just had a cat here. She's yelling at me that she needs to be fed. But I've also done the Carolina Renaissance Festival, which is.
I've heard amazing things about that one.
It is a nice festival. It is not quite at the same scale as Maryland.
Oh wait, was it Pennsylvania that I've heard amazing things?
I've also been to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
What I will say about the Pennsylvania festival is,
I'd assume they have strong ties to the Penzic crew.
I do not know. I honestly do not know. The crafters in Pennsylvania are good. The joust crew that worked at Pennsylvania when I was last there, they were very good. They put on a good show.
Nice.
The problem that I have heard with Pennsylvania is that they have this bad habit of inviting in well-known acts to work there for a season or two, and then they won't invite them back, and then miraculously this new group springs up and they do the exact same show that the old folks were. So Pennsylvania has kind of gained a reputation for stealing people's acts.
That is horrid.
Yes, it is. So that's why I don't go to Pennsylvania anymore.
Definitely. Toast says it must be tough being near Maryland because it's so big and pulls in folks from further away.
I don't know how tough it is. I mean, I live an hour away. I know that the people who live right around the fair do complain about traffic, but I also know people who are crafters who have literally gone and bought houses right across from the fair so they can get home faster after a day at fair. And so it's easier to maintain their booths during the year. I'd say, and the other Renaissance Festival that I've been to is Sterling, which is up in New York.
Oh, okay.
And then part of that was because I had a good friend that was part of that crowd, and we went up to visit her a number of times.
That makes sense.
But that was a nice fair.
Good. Okay.
The biggest problem with Sterling was the fact that most of it's built on a hill like this. So
Ooh, with your knee.
Well, this was
before the knee was a problem.
This was before my knees went bad. So it wasn't so much the problem that it would be now, but it was definitely.
How much time did you spend there? Maybe we know what happened to your knee.
No, that was many years ago. But it was a little exhausting to get back up to the gate at the end of the day, because
the gate was at the top.
The gate was up, and other things were down. So.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so most of the fairs I've been to have been up and down the East Coast.
Right. 95 is a pretty reasonable corridor for travel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've gone any farther south than the Carolina Fair.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to be able to go see some of the fairs in California or hit Colorado.
I've heard the Florida one wasn't bad. I've never been, but I had a roommate who went to grad school there.
I had a friend.
Lie. I don't remember her saying the fair was good. I think I just remembered learning that she had a mug that was wooden that had a spot for a straw that I thought was really cool. That she got there.
You can get those in Maryland, but
she had it before I saw them in Maryland by a couple of years.
But I had a friend who is unfortunately now deceased that lived in Florida for a while, and she was involved. I know she was involved with the SCA, and she went to at least one of the Florida fairs. I think there may be a couple of Florida fairs.
Is that a cranky cat noise?
This is a ghillie noise.
Oh, okay.
This is a ghillie.
Hi, ghillie.
Ghillie says it's after 7 o'clock and she hasn't been fed wet food. So
and she's going to die, and you're a horrible person.
Yep.
Catechus agrees. I shouldn't be hanging out where he can't play. And keeping the fun tree away from him? I'm a monster. Such a monster.
How can you play with the fun tree when it's in the wrong room?
It's a problem.
So is the tree out there because he played in the tree when it was in the regular room?
Yes. Yes. He would climb at least that far before I could get him out. He did not respect the spritz in the face nearly enough, and he was chewing on the lights.
Yeah, chewing on the lights would be the big one.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to tip it over to show him that there was a falling factor. And it's a fake tree, and the stand folded up. And so I'm trying to hold it up with one hand and unfold the base, and it was a struggle.
And Catechus is just there going, "This is fun." No.
He was out of the tree by then because it was all on the ground, and he was watching me, very confused and curious, very curious.
Yeah.
He does not approve of how long I've been gone, and yeah.
I've been gone forever. He counted. No.
Right? And there may be a trip in my near future. I will not, discuss when I'm not going to be home, but yeah. I already feel guilty, and I have friends coming to check on him regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully he doesn't bite the bleep out of them. Apparently he gets cranky when Mama doesn't come home.
That's because Mama lets him gnaw on her.
No, she does not. If he starts gnawing on me, he either gets kicked out of the room or tossed into the back bedroom for a timeout. If he doesn't, but usually just pointing the spray bottle at him will make him stop. Unfortunately, I usually put it down and I don't have it on me. And so I'm backing away slowly, trying to maintain eye contact while being like, where did I put it this time? And I don't want to back away from my cat. I think it sends the wrong message, but I want to keep an eye on him and I want to stare him down and, and I also want to be able to stop him if he jumps at my leg again.
Yeah.
He's a teenager, he's a boy, and he has tons of energy. And, he wants to wrestle play, and Mama does not.
Yeah, and that's the bigger problem.
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't have fur. That's the other problem.
He resents the fact that you don't have fur?
No, if I had fur, the fangs and claws wouldn't hurt so much because I'd have more cushion.
This is true.
So
I am at least fortunate that our cats are not ones for climbing up on bear skin, but they will like literally wait for you to put on a shirt or grab a blanket and then climb up on top of it. So it's like, I will not put my claws directly into your skin. Cover it so I can put my claws through that into your skin.
Right. So what about some of the smaller DC cons like Capclave and ChessieCon? Fall stuff.
I was doing Capclave, and
they're the Thanksgiving weekend one, right?
No, they're earlier than that. They're like early October.
So ChessieCon's the Thanksgiving weekend one?
Yeah, ChessieCon I have not gotten into, so I'm not sure when they are.
Yeah, but I think they're more women in writing.
I believe that is more of their focus.
Yeah.
And
you just don't identify that way.
I would be happy to come along as a supporter, but
right, yeah. But also it's Thanksgiving weekend, which, there are family obligations sometimes.
Well,
or food comas that make you not want to go anywhere. So
I don't tend to eat to the point where I go into food comas, so I'm at least good with that one.
That makes one of us. Well, it is coming up on 7:30, and I have had 2 cookies today.
You should get some food.
So I think we might be done partying. Maybe I should have probably put some festive music in the background, but my laptop was being so slow, I didn't want to
slow it down further.
Yeah.
At least you avoid sending anyone else to Wham-again, right?
And this way, YouTube can't copyright slam me.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Not that I'm monetized, but I don't know if you can, what levels of music you can play on your YouTube. I get confused. So I err on the side of silence and.
Yeah, I think you're probably better off without it, because I've heard some things about artists with their own streams who get their videos pulled because their music is copyrighted by them, and YouTube basically doesn't allow it.
Gotcha. Oh, and Toast says Twitch would mute the stream during those songs. So.
Yeah, and the same kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, I just looked up. ChessieCon is in November and does look like it would be over Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Although I believe I know the guest of honor for next year. So yep, I do know the guest of honor for ChessieCon for next year.
Excellent.
Cool. But
did you tell us who it is? Danielle.
Danielle Ackley McPhail.
Yeah. I
didn't want to mispronounce her name.
I interviewed her before I met her, and then she came over to say hi to me, and my dad was like, "Oh, hey, have you met my daughter?" And I'm like, I've interviewed her for my blog. And she runs eSpec Books, so she's one of the small presses that sends authors to me for author spotlights.
Ah, okay.
So
No, I've known her around the con circuit for a while, and
Yeah, she's such
a
a
nice
sweet.
person.
And what does she cook? Something spicy, right?
My
Ginger?
brain is saying she's the garlic lady, or
Ginger or something.
yeah, something like ginger. Yeah, ginger candies or something like that, I believe.
Ginger candy sounds right. Yeah. So.
And those are pretty good. I've gotten some of those before.
Yeah. So, and she has kitty interns at the house.
Mm-hmm.
She refers to hers as her interns.
Her interns. But so. Most people I know refer to them as HR.
Good point. Yeah. So, okay. Next week I will be coming to you live from my mama's house. But I should still be able to stream. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. My mom will either be watching TV or napping or playing World of Warcraft.
Or all three at once.
Or all three at once. I will tell her, dinner maybe early or late that day. So. Okay. My mom usually eats about 5:36, so this is definitely right in her eating window.
Right smack dab in the middle, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Give her tea before you start the stream, and that will tide her over to a proper dinner after the stream.
Or just do a late lunch.
Yeah, whatever.
No. Okay, well, I know we already did it, but I guess let's do our regular outros.
I'm Doc Coleman, steampunk author. You can find my links down below. But for those who are still hanging with us over on the Twitch side, you can also find my stuff by searching Doc Coleman Steampunk, and that will send you to my website, doccoleman.com. It'll send you to my Amazon page where you can see the things I've already got published, and have a happy holidays and whatever solstice themed holiday you celebrate. Have a
or none. You don't have to. You can still have good food though.
You could just be celebrating getting a day off from work, or more if your work gives you more.
So, and I of course am Morgan Hazelwood, and I write. I'm an actively querying fantasy author, and I blog, vlog, podcast, writing tips, and writerly musings. You can find me everywhere as Morgan Hazelwood. This week was my vaguely vague post-anticipation, talking about waiting, how much we do in writing and how much I do while waiting to hear how my mom was doing with her surgery, which was not actually mentioned, but was, I do believe, alluded to. And let's see. So however you prefer to consume media, I am probably there. I have a horrible social media addiction, and I will be back next week. Have a great holiday or time off, or, I hope you get at least 6 hours of sleep a night. Maybe some new socks, whatever floats your boat. So have a great week, and I'll be back. Bye-bye. Oh, let me see if I can end the broadcast instead of leaving the studio. Okay, bye.